Yeah, so Russ, when I first got on this path, this journey we call becoming a chiropractor, you were the first person that really introduced me to the philosophy. And this conversation is really born out of that crossroads I was at. I was trying to figure out which direction I was going to go. I chose this path. And here we are about 10, 11 years later, maybe even 12 years later. So welcome pre-chiro students to another meaningful conversation that I keep having with true chiropractors that are in practice in the real world, just to help build context for you if you are going to take this path of becoming a chiropractor. Today, I have somebody that I met at the very, very beginning of my path named Dr. Cooperstein. Dr. Russ, can we just get started by you introducing yourself, letting us know a little bit about what your upbringing was and how you discovered chiropractic and decided to become a chiropractor?
Yeah, I was so I'm from Philly. I grew up hardcore city, and we was a biology major, Penn State, and then it's a funny thing. I went to graduated, and I was working at the Taj Mahal Casino in Lake City, and I met this kid. And he said he's going to be a chiropractor, and at that point, I didn't know what a chiropractor was, and neither did he. And he said this, and I remember this. He said, I don't know what they do, but my family's chiropractor, my mom and dad's chiropractor, drives the nicest cars. He's got the hottest wife, and everybody in town loves him. And I was 22 years old, and I was like, I want that. So he and I actually took a trip to Atlanta, checked out the school, got into school, and now, 21 years later, I drive nice cars, I got the hottest wife, and everyone in town loves me. But here's the thing. It was, it's funny, but I was in a car accident right before I got into chiropractic school. And so I couldn't turn my neck after this happened. And I went to physical therapy. The doctors recommended this and that. Nobody actually recommended a chiropractor. But when I got to chiropractic school, my first teacher saw that I couldn't move my neck. And he asked me what happened. He's like, come with me. He takes me in this room with a table, lays me down. I've never had an adjustment yet. He grabs my neck, adjusts my neck, sat up, and I was like, wow. So I went with a whole year not being able to turn my neck. One adjustment, and that was it. I dedicated my life that moment to teaching as many people as I can about chiropractic.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
You said that you were 22. Where were you at in life? Like, what had you been up to when you decided to go to school? Because timing is everything, right? People
Yeah.
might be coming out of high school saying, I want to become a chiropractor.
Yeah.
People might be 50 years old changing careers right now. Where were you at?
I was just floating around. I wasn't sure what I was going to be. I was thinking maybe a dentist. I was thinking maybe I was going to teach biology. And it's interesting. I really feel like the hand of God came down and grabbed me and said, "You're going to Atlanta." And just like that, I got to chiropractic school, and I really had no idea what a chiropractor did. I just knew internally, inside, there was this. It just was a force that got me. And then when I was there, the other cool part is when I was there, and I started listening to some of the professors talk about innate intelligence and universal intelligence. And I mean, I was a scientist. I was a biologist. I studied anatomy. No one ever connected the nervous system and the bones in the spine and how they can affect who you are and and everything you do. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
for students out there, I think it's vital for them to know a little bit about this other side of the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
Can
just
you?
look. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
So, I mean, just think where we are right now. it's 2021, right? We're in the middle of, when you think about it, it's a middle of some type of medical crisis, right? I mean, we're talking pandemic, we're talking vaccines, we're talking the end of the world. And for us as chiropractors, and I think because it was the studying, the complete understanding of how the body works through this intelligence within it, that gives me the strength to understand and to not be afraid like so many people are today, right? I mean, if you talk to, I mean, we have a very busy practice. To talk to hundreds of people, young people, older people. It seems like there's this fear of, it's just this fear that goes deep in people's cells. And I think it's because they don't understand some of the chiropractic principles. Like this intelligence within us, it's smart. It knows what to do, right? So if students got a little bit of that, and I don't know how we can get it to them, it would be amazing if we can somehow drop it into the educational system, right? It would be, I mean, we have all the other types of education, right? We get taught about diabetes, we get taught about insulin, kids know about cancer. But you ask somebody what innate intelligence is, they look at you like, what is that, some religious thing? You know, it's just, these are simple principles. Just imagine if the world knew what we knew about how the body works, how the body functions. I think we wouldn't be where we are at this moment.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember me bringing you on the Temple campus and you speaking to the intro to kinesiology class, and I think you had said that there was some ongoing dialogue that you had with that department. But do you remember how excited the students were after you got done sharing with them? And this is probably a group of students where 95+% had never even heard about chiropractic. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So that's where this project really came from. You know, I chose to go to a more medicalized chiropractic school, and then I transferred to a more vitalistic principled chiropractic school, and I got to see the whole spectrum, and it really opened my eyes to, wow, not only did that kinesiology department that I came from not have any presence of chiropractic, but there was also chiropractic schools that had no presence of chiropractic. And after hanging out with you in your office for several months and getting exposure to just, you were touching on just some of the things, and I didn't see any of those things when I started chiropractic school. And so I knew there was something out there. You know, I had gone to also a couple seminars. I was working in a chiropractor's office, and I just got to say that this project is aiming to show up on a college or high school campus and represent chiropractic in the name of chiropractic, but also being true to those principles. Like, innate means inborn. It means that we were born with this intelligence. It's not anything, like you said, religious. It's not this out there idea. But you're right. It's showing up today in our communities and our practices, the people we take care of. And right now we're just trying to take care of the people that might one day become chiropractors and give them as much context. So how did you bring people into the fold that day? How do you bring people into understanding chiropractic in your office with the people you take care of? How would you describe chiropractic to somebody who's coming into your office that may never have been to a chiropractor before?
So we have, I mean, 21 years of going up and down different types of education and different kinds of seminars and speaking with, you know, people in the profession who have guided us. I think the cool part is you can change and you can shift the way that you practice and the way you educate people in the office. So right now we're again at a shifting change. So we've been very, I would say, more on the structural understanding of the subluxation, which is the bones putting pressure on the nerves, and looking at the curves and making sure they're working right. And we really try to give people what they want. Like when they come in, a lot of times they're coming in with neck pain or back pain or headaches, or they're coming in with some kind of issue, right? And so we try to build the bridge between their issue and what chiropractic can help them with. While we build that bridge, we're moving them into an understanding of what's possible with their nervous system. So it goes from structural to more philosophical. And the people that get it, that really understand it, their pain and their symptoms start disappearing, but they get a whole new appreciation of their bodies, their nervous system, what they can do, not only with their body that's out of pain, but how they can make more money where they're at, meaning you're a realtor, you're functioning better, you're communicating to your clients better, your life starts to elevate. Not only out of pain, but now it's like, wow, I can make more money. I can work out longer. I can have great relationship with my spouse. Because when we remove that interference, the body functions at its best. And now we're diving a little bit deeper, my wife and I, with a new type of understanding of this thing called heart math. And it goes a little bit off topic of the spine, but it really helps connect people to their source, which is, again, that's the main principle of chiropractic. I mean, D.D. Palmer, that's what he talked about. I mean, connecting man the physical with man spiritual. Wow, imagine if that was in the yellow pages. I don't even know if we have yellow pages anymore, but you know what I mean? Like, imagine if that was the message that came out of chiropractic 50 years ago, you know? And so I think if students, we not only students, but the world needs our message, especially right now. And I feel like if we can teach the young folks, if we can get them, I'm thinking like 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. I mean, my kids, you know, they know this stuff. And we speak at home. We talk about, you know, they get adjusted regularly. We see lots of kids, and parents bring their kids in, not just because they have pain, but because we start to teach them principles of a healthy lifestyle, allowing your nervous system to fully express itself. Does everyone get that? I don't think so. But if we don't talk about it, and we only talk about neck pain and headaches and back pain, yeah, it's going to help a lot of people, but I don't think it's going to transform the planet like our forefathers wanted, right? I mean, that's the cool part. And when you dig, like I think, like I said, like what you're doing and trying to get young folks that are looking, searching for a path, that would be an amazing gem for them to really like grab onto.
Right, like regardless of whether they go to chiropractic school, regardless of whether they become chiropractors, they understand the principles of how to live in harmony with their environment, with their lifestyle, with their family and their friends, and take care of themselves. We're going to just have better communities. We're going to have people that trust each other a little more, that look at each other in the eye, maybe that smile each other one day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, so just think what it would be like if the leaders that we see on the television were saying things like, your body is amazing, it can heal itself, right? All of a sudden, this whole last year, we forgot about the immune system. We forgot about the nervous system. I mean, I'm not saying we don't need certain things, right? I'm not saying we need to just take medicine and the model and just throw it out. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's a time and place for everything. But if people understood how amazing our nervous system is, when it's free of interference, we'd be having a whole different conversation, right? So that one little principle, like you said, will shift, right? I mean, you think about your environment differently, right? You think about everything. So that's the cool part, the exciting part.
You've talked about lineage a couple times, or just what our forefathers were interested in up to. Can you reflect on your mentors, the people that you studied with that have brought you up? You said you've been through a lot of seminars, a lot of coaching, a lot of training. Can you just kind of touch on some of the companies, some of the seminars, some of the people maybe some of the books, just for a few minutes there.
Yep. So, there was at our school in Atlanta, we had this place called it was called like the reading room, and it had a room full of green books, and the green books were the initial books that BJ and Dee came out with. And I used to go in there and just sit in there and read these books. I mean, those are great books to begin with. You can find them online, maybe other chiropractors, you can borrow them. But here's what's really interesting is when I first decided that I was going to go to chiropractic school, I had to get a reference from another chiropractor. And my neighbor, when I was living down the shore, was a chiropractor. I went to him and he said, listen, before you go to chiropractic school, you need to read this book. And, I was like 22. I'm like, I'm not reading the book, man. I just want to go. He's like, read the book. Also, I won't write you a reference. So he was trying to give me knowledge then, but I was stubborn, right? I didn't want to. So I started reading the book. It was this big fat book called The Bigness of the Fellow Within. And it was like this, the language in it was difficult. And so I read parts of it and I gave it back to him and he was like, what did you learn? And I said, I don't know. It was a little confusing, but he gave me the referral anyway. And now that I see what he was trying to do, that is exactly what you're trying to do, is to give these students some deeper knowledge. And so green books are amazing. Joe Strauss, Dr. Strauss's books, he has the blue books. They're amazing because they take it to a very simple level and they explain the chiropractic principles in more modern terms. So I highly recommend the blue books, the green books. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I was able to do was go to different countries. I went to Brazil a couple times. I went to El Salvador with a guy named Lou Corletto. He was amazing. We take care of thousands of people who never heard of chiropractic. We saw miracles in front of our eyes. So that's an amazing adventure. Arnaud Bernier, he had a chiropractic camp, which again went deeper into yourself, self-development. Reggie Gold, Reggie Gold came to a school, and nobody took his seminar, but three of us. It was the funniest thing. It was me and my two buddies and Reggie Gold, and so I'm having one-on-one adjustment skills with Reggie Gold, and he goes, listen, at lunchtime, go bring back your friends. So we brought a couple of people back, but man, one-on-one, Reggie Gold and his adjusting style, which is amazing. New Beginnings, another amazing seminar that brings all the philosophical chiropractors together. That's actually where I met my wife, and there's so much cool stuff out there. And there's so much more that I haven't even got into, right? There's these newer things. And then, one of the pieces that I think was missing in my whole journey was the business side, right? Because you were talking about, I saw some of your points in what you're going to institute. And I feel for chiropractors, the business side is the part that really needs to be strengthened, because naturally we're healers. Naturally, when you go to chiropractic school, you learn how to be a great doctor or a great chiropractor, but you don't learn on how to get that message out. And so we did this. It's called Close for Chiro. They're an amazing group they teach you a little bit more on how to get people to understand your message and then want to purchase it. Right. And that's the part that a lot of chiropractors get squeamish about, because oh, I can't sell this. I'm a doctor. And it's like, well, you know what? You're selling your wife on dinner every night. You're selling your kids on going to bed at 8 o'clock. You're selling yourself on going to the gym. I mean, everything we do is sales. So once we get the sales, the stigmatism about how bad sales is out, and we learn, I mean, look what's going on right now. We're being sold. This virus is killing us. We're being sold. You got to get this vaccine. It's sales. It's everything sales. So that's an interesting part to the whole event.
Can you kind of just touch on some of the details of being in practice and having somebody come into your office? What's their experience like? Because I really want students to get an understanding. You just touched on that we're entrepreneurs, that we do sales and
Yeah.
marketing and communication. Can you kind of touch on like how somebody finds your office? Um, Typically, how
Yeah.
they book
Yeah.
an appointment, come into the office, what they experience, what they see. Just bring us into your office, please.
Yeah, so we have an amazing website. I think that's nowadays one of the big things. We've got the most reviews out of any chiropractor in our town because we really sit down with people and ask them to just honestly give us feedback on what their experience was. So when people go online nowadays, everyone's online. They're on their phone. They're looking for a chiropractor. We pop up, and people come in and they're like, "Hey, you have good reviews." Once they come in, it starts them like that first phone call with the way the staff talks with them, makes them feel welcome. One of the coolest parts is, we give somebody a choice of like sparkling water or regular water when they first sit down. I mean, what doctor's office offers you sparkling water? Right? I mean, you don't see that, but we do that because we really feel like, hey, we're thankful you're here. Let's have a little bit of, a little gift just to come on in. And then once they come on in, we sit down with them, and we actually do about 20 minutes at our expense. We call it a consultation. I mean, again, how many doctor's offices have you gone to? And as soon as you show up, they're like, "Where's your copay? Where's your this?" We just sit down. We want to find out, are you a right fit? Do you like us? Do we like you? Is this going to be a good experience for you? And so
Hmm.
we then teach them we usually take x-rays if we need to, and then we show them we usually do what we call the first day, where we get all the information about them. And then the second day, we explain what their problem is and how we're going to work on it. And then we usually set them up on some type of care plan based on what we find in their exam and on their x-rays. So yeah, so I think the big thing is online presence. We have a woman that does our Facebook stuff. She does, and Nicole, my wife, is amazing at bringing up like heartfelt information. She just writes articles. We talk about all different kind of things that relate to health. And so I think when you create this kind of stuff, and it's fun because you don't have to do all the info, you don't have to do it all. You can hire somebody that helps and assists. So I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, we used to do all these outdoor speaking engagements, which was a lot of fun. Like I would go and talk to 100 teachers in their schools. That hasn't happened over a year because you're just not allowed in. But we would go to businesses, police, fire, and just have a discussion about chiropractic, and that was really fun. So yeah, those are some of the ways you market, and I think one of the biggest things is just your communication with that person, having them know that you care is huge, because then they're going to send in their wife or their husband, they're going to send in their child, they're going to send in their grandparents, and so that's, if you are true to what you're into, people are going to feel that. And that, for like I said, 21 years. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. So I'll go wait for you to get back. Did you drop off? No, you're there. You just turned your camera off. Where'd you go? Oh. Well, yeah, so, oh, there you go.
Sorry. Were you hearing all those curses?
No.
Wait, I don't hear you now. Hold on. Can you hear me?
I hear you crystal clear. Can you hear me or no? Leave the room, leave, and come back. Um,
All right,
There
sorry.
you go. It's all good.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's part of the coolest thing is to just connect with the person sitting in front of you, um, and truly love them for who they are. That's the coolest part.
Hmm. Two quick things, and then I want
Yeah,
to honor your time. First thing is work-life balance, the type of life you've been
yeah.
able to design for yourself, having a wife who's a chiropractor and being able to set your own hours. Can you kind of just describe what you've been able to do to be a part of your kid's life, and then also maybe just be a part of your community or live the life that, how have you designed your life, first off?
Yeah, that is a very important piece today as well, right? The life work balance. I mean, I kind of come from the old school of you need to work and work and work and work and work, and eventually you get to the point. And I mean, that's what we did. I don't know if you need to do that in today's world. If you shift your mind and your heart, you can work less and still be fulfilled and still have things that you want to do. So now we're at a point where we work Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 days. Um, COVID was part of that shift. Last year we just, there was everything shut down, and we only went to 3 days. And now a year later, we really enjoy that schedule. We see lots of people in those 3 days. We keep everybody spread out to keep things, um, you know, as best as we can, in compliance with everything going on. But we don't know if we're going to go back to a fourth day. We used to, a couple for many years we did 4 days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so we had a 3-day weekend, which was amazing. Our staff, they love having 3 days to do what they want to do, right? So now they have 4 days, and some of them, they may pick up something on the side on the weekends, but again, they love the work and they love the balance between their life and coming into the office. And one of the ladies actually was like, she was so excited because she never had a holiday off, never, and she couldn't have dinner with her family on Thanksgiving or Christmas. And now she's just like, I love this. She's just, it's, and so well, the money part's important, right? Like you wanna go into, especially as a student, right? You have all these loans, and you want to figure out like this: how do I make a good living, and how do I have time? And I don't think there's any other profession that I know that you can work like 20 hours a week and make a really good living and really connect to your community. I mean, some of the people come in that are stockbrokers, right, that are in finance. I mean, they could work 80 hours a week, right? And it's just like they miss their kids' football games, basketball, lacrosse, but, they're making a ton of money. So you have to find that balance. And that's the cool part about our profession, is you can make your own hours. Now, in the beginning, you may need to work with somebody, right? I did. I learned. I opened my own office. First office was open all by myself, 5 years. It failed. I didn't do real well. I didn't know what I was doing. I was having a blast, and then I went and worked with a couple people and learned some skills from them. And then, my wife and I opened up together. But the whole point, the thing is, I would have never met her if I didn't have that failed practice. If I would have, it's just, you can't see it when you're in it, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay to fail. That's perfectly fine. That was it was awesome. It was really cool to fail and to learn from the mistake. Because when I look back, of course I was going to fail. I was still having a blast. I wasn't really, committed. I was just doing it. Just, I don't know. It just wasn't where I see I am now
Mm-hmm.
back then, which is cool. But yeah, that's I love it. I love it because my
And
son,
maybe,
yeah, my son's he's gonna figure out what he wants to do, and he's looking into different things. He may be a chiropractor. We don't know yet. But when I think about his journey, and what he wants to do. I mean, as long as he loves it, I think he's going to do really well at what he wants to do. But when you think about all the professions and how much time it takes to go to work, to put in the hours, to make the money, it's rare that you can do a 20-hour week and have an incredible life. Like I said, drive really nice cars, have house, go on vacation. I mean, we're going away. We're going away. The vacations are 10 grand. It's 10 grand to go away with a family of 5. It's awesome, right? I love it. I love being able to do that. And I'm not saying it's all about the money. It's not all about the money, but it's nice to have the money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And and not to paint a rosy picture, there are going to be those big challenges. Like you said, you had to fail to get to where you're at today.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think that, pre-Chiro students, the more we can throw them into the fire and have them fail, have them, like I like to say, fail forward, it's going to just harden them, and it's going to build this like sort of thick skin that is needed to be a chiropractor in the real world. Can you kind of just creatively give some recommendations to a pre-Chiro student on just like what they should be maybe thinking about exploring? I know you already touched on some resources. You don't have to go there. But like if they had a pre-Chiro club they were starting on their college campus, and maybe they were opening a business in that name, I'm recommending they call it a pre-Chiro hub, like the hub of a wheel, and that they go out and they connect and communicate with their fellow students at their college campus or within the community that they live. Like, how did you start that third practice with your wife after having been through 2 practices, having failed maybe in a practice? Like, I know that it's all about timing and learning what you don't like. And what would you say are some things that students should go through to experience how it feels to to get uncomfortable and really try and meet people that are not familiar with what they're all about?
Yeah, that is an interesting thought. What could they do? So, I mean, I would suggest some of them jump into like a multi-level marketing business, right? Like go find something they're interested in, supplements or I don't know, whatever they want to sell, and learn how to like approach people and say, hey, listen, I have this product, and try. I've had 5, 6 different multi-level marketing companies that I've started, that I failed at, that I didn't lose a ton of money in them, but it was a good learning experience to know that. And what I really discovered through all that was that if you truly don't love it, if it's not in your heart, you may think it's in your head, but if it's not in your heart, it's going to be challenging to sell it. And that's a great experience. That's a great lesson, especially as a student, to figure out what's really in their heart, what lights them up. And that really, I think, I mean, you're in practice, right? You've taken care of people. The percentage of people that love what they do, that are lit up when they go to their office, is, I'm going to say, 2% of the population. And that might be high. 2% love what they do. So as a student, that's the thing, is find what lights you up, and then try to sell it, and then see how it goes, right? And maybe it'll be successful, maybe it won't. But if you don't tap into your true nature, and that's the part, is it's very easy to just stay in the head, right? To stay in, well, what's going to make me the most money? How can I work less? All the things go through the head. But when you transition more towards the heart, and you go down, and you really sit with yourself, it'll show up. And it may take a while, right? It may not come immediately. So that's what I would suggest students do, is try to just sit with yourself in a quiet room. Don't listen to your parents or your brother or your sister. Listen to what's inside of you, and it will guide you. And it's okay, like I said, to fail. I mean, gosh, I was living. We didn't have a place to live at one point. My wife, myself, my son. I mean, it was a wild time. But you know what? We just kept listening to our hearts. We kept serving people, and that was the thing. We just never ever gave up because we truly believe in the principles of what chiropractic is. And yeah, that's cool.
No, most definitely. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, just to give thanks to you, just to like you said, what doctor is going to sit there with you in between patients and just have a conversation, a real conversation, and like boil it down to like, what do you want to do? What do you see yourself doing? And when I tell you something like, well, I'm not sure, that's why I'm here. I'm asking questions. I'm curious of like what you do. And you just
Yeah,
say, I have fun and it's a journey. And it
yeah,
seemed like something that I could see myself doing for a long period of time, which is one of the first times that I had like been able to look out at myself and really kind of, like you said, look within and see what would excite me to be doing for an extended period of time. So
yeah. I remember that quite well when you came in and we were talking. And it's again, you're a perfect example of. I really feel like you found the heart qualities because you're here right now trying to shift the mindset of young people, right? Because you were there and it was like, can we have a little bit of like a foot, a little hold, a little uh, stone that we can stand on for security? And this is what I think. Yeah, like I said, I think you have a path that if we can implement it, right, and we can get people to, like I said, I think I think it needs to go in the beginning. Like kids need to learn, and now everyone's online, so why can't they learn, right? Why can't we have a chiropractic, learning channel on Zoom, right, where you teach these principles, and kids don't have to. They can learn all kinds of stuff now, right? I mean, think about. That's what I was saying the other day. You don't have to be in a place now. It can be anywhere. So if we can get this message out to young folks, right, out to parents, it'll make life easier for them. They'll be able to think a little bit deeper. Right now, I feel that's what's missing.
hmm hmm
Yeah, just the missing principles of life.
now, yeah, and we need structure, right? Like the more
Yeah,
structure we have,
yeah,
the easier it's going to be for a student to wrap their mind and get into their heart eventually. But it does start in the mind, and it's that mindset shift first. And then, like you said, through the experience, you start to build this internal compass that guides you through things based on where you've been previous. So yeah, no, absolutely. When I saw you give that conversation, when I saw you have that conversation in the kinesiology classroom, I knew that we were doing something that was really important,
yeah,
regardless of, how many people from that conversation was like, I want to become a chiropractor. I don't really care if people become chiropractors after going through a pre-chiro program. I want them to just, like you said, build that experiential wisdom that they know what they like, they know what they don't like, they know who they are, they know who they aren't, they know what they would, be good at if they followed that path based on the questions we're asking of them. So
yeah.
I do think that, this does need to be represented around the world. I mean, there's countries that don't even have
Right,
chiropractors.
right. Yeah. Again, it's the principles, like you said. They don't have to become a chiropractor, right? Like
Mhm.
if my kids don't become a chiropractor, that's totally cool. But what they do understand through all these years of us showing them and living the chiropractic lifestyle, which it really is a healthy lifestyle, right? It's a way to 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 honor your body, to honor your mind, to honor your spirit. It's a way to do that. And I think, like I said, if we can get the masses of people to understand the principle, the whole world would shift. It really would shift. And it has to start, young. We have to get we have to really get the educational system on board with just dropping a little bit, right? Just a little bit. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
don't have to like change everybody in an instant like that. But if we drop a little bit of this knowledge on, 1 week, 2 week, 3 week class of, hey, this is how your body works. This is what innate intelligence is. I mean, everyone knows about it. It's just not spoken, right? And the reason I think, and this is the big thing, is the power structure in most countries, even in our country, does not come from this place of understanding. It comes from money and control, and those things we need to work on harmoniously, right? We need to somehow get into the mindset of the medical world, because they're the ones that, everyone feels is they're the leaders on health. I mean, if we can somehow come to a table with them and say, listen, you have your way of looking at health and we have our way, because it is two different concepts. And it's okay to have two different concepts. It's just we have to have our concept come forward without the constant bashing or the constant not allowing. We're seeing that now. I mean, that's going to be the next thing, right? Is when you post something about innate intelligence and it gets taken down because some companies are not into that, right? And so that's where we have to really get into the minds of the students, and the people have to want that knowledge, because it's getting harder and harder to find, right? I mean, gosh, the last year showed us that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
getting harder to find, but it's easier to access.
It is easier to access, yeah.
Regardless of whether people are finding this right now, I do understand that I would need to have a several $1,000,000 budget to really get these messages. Obviously, these are going to be little sound bites, but to get these messages in front of the right people at the right time all over the world would take a $10 to $100 million budget of marketing and ad spend. If we wanted, say, some small college that has a kinesiology department and in a rural area to broadcast and promote pre-chiropractic. But I also think the power is in the people. And so if we just have one student listen to this message you shared this morning, take it, run with it, start a pre-chiro club, build a legacy on their campus, it creates this snowball effect. So it's that power of the big idea that we're working on here right now. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing.
We could talk forever, man.
Yeah. We'll stay connected. And anything you need, let me know, and have a beautiful day, my friend.
All right. See ya.
All right. See you, man.